Hey guys, I just wanted to come on here real quick and talk about my riding lesson today and a couple of other things as well. So it was a lot of fun. If you don't know, I was around horses for a long time. I had riding lessons growing up sporadically, and then I had that 6 years at the barn in Arkansas with Blondie and the others, those horses. But that wasn't really riding except for Smokey, and Smokey is the one that broke my ankle and made me have 2 permanent screws in my ankle to hold my tibia. So that's a little backstory. And then when I moved to Florida last year completely, it was really hard to find somewhere to ride because there's actually not a lot of stables around where we are, and the one I'm actually going to is like 45 minutes away from our place. But I found one, and so I've been there 3 other times, well 4 other times if you count 2020, but I actually didn't know it was the same place because we went riding in 2020 right before the pandemic shut everything down. But I've been there 3 other times, or 2 other times? 2 other times. I'm thinking of Arkansas too. I went on a trail ride in Arkansas. 2 other times within the past year. I went in October of 2023 and November of 2023, and both of those were trail rides. And one of those, the second one in November, was a little quarter horse named Trigger. And he's who I rode today. So I'm going to put in a little picture right here. And I also posted like a post with that picture, but I'm also going to include a very grainy video because it was on my dad's phone and then it transferred over and it didn't transfer well, so sorry about that. But so I rode Trigger today, and what I really like about the lessons versus the trail rides is the trail rides is just kind of like, I love horses in general, but just like they're tacked up, ready to go, get on, let's go and ride. But for me, horses is more than just riding. In fact, most of my life around horses has been not riding, because I just love being around the horses. So what I liked with the trail ride, or the lesson, was that I got to brush them off, which I already know how to do because of the, 6 years in Arkansas. And then she showed me how to tack him up, which I do know how to do a bridle. I do not know how to do a saddle until today, so I tacked him up myself, which was really fun with her instruction. And then I also got to lead him in and out of the paddock, which I also liked. So we did all that, and then we rode down to the arena at a very slow, like super slow walk, because he did not want to participate in this in the beginning. And then in the arena I was just kind of riding around. First had a walk, getting comfortable with Trigger, getting comfortable with being in the saddle. I'm not in shape at all, and I will get to this later, but I've had a little bit of anxiety around riding ever since the accident with Smokey. So for the first little bit was just walking around. I find it kind of fun to walk over the poles because I've never done that before. And then I was doing the barrels at a walk and doing figure eights around the barrels at a walk. And let me put in a little clip. Sorry about the graininess. There's not really much I can do about that. So I was walking for a good bit of the first, part of the lesson, just, getting comfortable with the horse, listening to her instructions on what to do with the horse. And I'm sorry, Trigger, I am not super coordinated. I accidentally ran him into a barrel twice instead of going around it, but, and then she was like, do you want to try trotting? And I was a little bit nervous because I haven't gone faster than a walk on a horse since I fell off of Smokey, or got bucked off of Smokey, and one of the two I got knocked out. I don't actually remember much of it. And then broke my ankle. So I was a little bit nervous, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. So we did trot, and the first couple trots, now he's a shorter horse. He's a quarter horse, but he's little, kind of like Blondie. I think he's a little bigger than Blondie. So because he's a shorter horse, though, he has a choppier gait. So he was like, I felt like she was like, that looks really good. And I'm like, I feel like I'm going to fly off this horse. That's how I felt. And so the first couple trots, I felt completely out of control. I forgot to steer. The horse went into the middle of the arena instead of the outside. And I was just like, okay, let's walk. And the other thing with Trigger that she warned me about is he likes to trot really fast, so she kept having me do half halts to get him to slow down. So that was the first little bit, and then I had a couple trots where I felt pretty good. I felt a little out of control, but I felt pretty good. And then there was another one where kind of that little bit of anxiety kicked in because he went really fast and I completely lost my balance and went forward. I didn't fall off or anything, but I went forward, like hunched over the neck of the horse. And so I brought back to a walk, kind of recollected myself, did a walk lap around the arena. At this point, the lesson was almost over, sadly. And she was like, let's do one more trot. And so I did. And lesson horses, if you guys don't know, they're saints, first of all. They're worth their weight in gold. But also they are not as easy to keep at a higher speed because they are, lazy or just dead to the buttons after so many years. So I had issues with that. But the last trot we just did a little lap on our way back to the gate. And that was the first time in 6 years that I tried it on a horse. I fell off at a canter, but that I tried it on a horse. I felt like I wasn't going to fly out of the saddle. I didn't feel completely like I was doing well, but I didn't feel like I was going to fly out of the saddle. And I felt more control. I was able to keep him on the rail. And then the lesson was over. So it was really, really great to end on a high note like that, where I had this trot where I felt comfortable, I felt confident, and then that was the end. So it was really good to end on that note. And then we walked past the scary bush on the way back to the barn. So he kind of shied a little bit, but it wasn't anything crazy. And yeah, it was really fun. For me, riding horses is my favorite thing to do in the world, and it also takes me away from CF and everything else. And on that note of CF, I've already been a little bit stressed the past couple days because, one, my blood sugar has been like whack-a-doodle, and two, my most recent sputum culture, sorry if you're not a CF runner, that's gross, sputum culture from my lungs showed that there was a little bit of B. cepacia, which is a not very nice bug. I had it back in 2015. We thought we eradicated it with Bactrim. It could have been dormant. It's not like dangerous or anything we need to worry about or do anything about right now, but it was a little bit of a mental knowing that the cepacia was back in its littlest form, but it was back. Because I usually culture Pseudomonas, which I have my whole life, and I'm used to that, but, that news kind of shook me a little bit, just because I've seen what cepacia can do to people, so it kind of upset me, and so I was very thankful to have the horse lesson today, and I can really only do about, one a month, maybe two, depending on the month, but it's still really good. I'm really out of shape. My hands are still kind of shaky because I was kind of I don't know, I guess from lifting the saddles and everything that was heavy. My hands were shaking for 10 minutes after I got off the horse. So I'm out of shape, but I'm just going to rest the rest of the day because I do have a headache from the heat. It's 95 degrees outside. But it was a really, really fun day, really good time. And it's nice to have horses back in my life and have lessons back in my life. The confidence with the horses, which is something I love, so I will push past those fears, translates into confidence in other areas of my life. So it was really good. I am grateful to Trigger for not bucking me off like Smokey. And yeah, that's about it.